sometimes things just fit. Sometimes they fit perfectly, effortlessly. Have you ever watched a small child who was trying to build a jigsaw puzzle with very big pieces? You can see them picking up a piece and then trying to place it together with the others. And even when there are only a few pieces left, they can still have trouble matching the remaining pieces with the rest of the puzzle. Now, what about when there's only a single piece left? Well, a small child still may not really look closely and examine that piece to look for how the colors and shapes on that piece, you know, the edges, how it fits with the other remaining pieces. So when they get that final piece, they don't just pop it right in necessarily. They don't know exactly how it's gonna fit in there. They have to still rotate it a few different times. In many cases, they pick it up. They know it's the last one, but they don't really see exactly how to fit it in there. They know it is going to fit. But they don't know. They don't look ahead to figure out how to fit it in there. They just pick it up and they put it in, and then they twist a little bit and push and twist it and push, and they can actually twist it around like 5 or 6 times and never get it to fit in there because they're not systematically twisting it 90 degrees every time and, you know, doing it very deliberately. If they're rushing, it can end up slowing them down, right? So they could get frustrated even with just one last piece and call and ask for help. They could call for your help. So would it be easy for you to build that same puzzle now? Let's say that as a child you tried to build a puzzle, and then decades later you go back to that same, you know, age 4 puzzle, the puzzle that's recommended for people ages 4 to 6 or 3 to 4 or something, and you get that puzzle, and now you look at it, is it still challenging and interesting? No, it's not even interesting because it's so easy for you to make a puzzle like that. Maybe you've built it hundreds of times before, it's kind of boring. Now, if a kid's with you and the kid is really excited about it, then yeah, you might build a puzzle, but otherwise, why bother? So maybe when you were a small child again, you had built that exact same puzzle, and of course you did it very slowly at the time because you weren't that good at building puzzles yet. So maybe the edges on the pieces have become rough and flimsy because that puzzle was built so many times by you. And now you go back to that puzzle and, you know, you're an expert at that puzzle. And eventually, one of the things that is a kind of a big advance for a big advance for the child that's learning to build puzzles is when they discover the top of the box. So what's on the top of the box? Why is that important? Eventually, you discovered that the top of the box had a picture on it. And that picture matched the completed puzzle. It matched perfectly. It was maybe a little smaller on the box than the actual puzzle, but that's about the only difference. It's a perfect match. And as you built puzzles over time, you probably learned to use that picture as a guide. So you look at the picture, you say, oh, that's the puzzle I want to build because I like those cartoon characters or whatever is pictured on the box. So you select the box, or you select the puzzle based on the picture on the box. So you look at the different boxes and the pictures on the boxes and you pick the one you like, then you're going to build that puzzle, and then you look at the top of the box as you build, right? So you learn to use that picture as a guide, and you were able to build puzzles much more quickly when you had that picture as a guide. Not only did everything fit together perfectly, but you could do it much more quickly. So what if the rest of life could be that easy? What if there was some kind of a guideline for how to fit everything together? What if you could get a map of your destiny and then quickly reorganize all the little weirdly shaped pieces to fit together to create a new big picture? a picture that makes sense when you put it all together. The individual pieces have weird edges. You maybe think, this is a very chaotic looking little thing. What is that? How am I going to ever fit that into other things? And you're mashing it in, and I'll try it this way. Let's rotate it and try it. It just doesn't fit. Well, maybe it could fit, and maybe the picture on the box of a puzzle would help you to build a puzzle. And like a picture on the box of a puzzle can help you to build a puzzle, maybe there could be some kind of a guideline that could help you to organize your life and make things fit together smoothly and in a way that's coordinated. And when it comes to finally fitting that last piece in, it's very easy to do. You know what to look for, you know how to fit it in, and you do it, and it's smooth and simple and easy, and it's, you know, can even be fun to build the whole thing and put it together. So the individual pieces of a puzzle only include a hint of the total meaning of the whole puzzle, or what's pictured on the entire puzzle. You just have a little piece of the picture on each individual puzzle piece. So you can't look at just one or two pieces and know what the entire puzzle will look like. Or not usually, not unless you're really familiar with the puzzle. So then you see one piece and you go, oh, I know what puzzle that goes to, and you in your mind can remember the picture that fits with that piece. So you see a piece and you go, I know what puzzle that goes with. That's nice. If you had a piece of the puzzle, if you had a picture of the full puzzle completed, like on the box, then that would make it easier to know if any single piece fit into that puzzle. So let's say I have a picture on a puzzle box, and then I pick up a piece. Now I'm going to turn it over so I can see the colored side. That's important, right? Turn it over. Make sure you're looking at the piece with the colored side, not the gray cardboard side, but the colored side. Then I'm looking at the colored side. I've got my box top, so I know what the whole puzzle will look like when it's put together. And I can easily tell, sometimes, very quickly, does this puzzle go, or does this piece go with the whole puzzle, or is this piece from some other jigsaw puzzle? Because I just pick up any puzzle piece and any puzzle box top. It doesn't mean they go together. So imagine having pieces from several different puzzles all mixed together. You might even be missing some pieces from some of the puzzles, but how would you know that? You just see a big pile of puzzle pieces, and you're pretty sure those are not all from the same puzzle. There's some that are big pieces from the puzzle that's for 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds, and then you got some really small pieces from the puzzles for ages 12 and up, and so on. So maybe you have a few different box tops with a few different pictures of completed puzzles. But you're just not sure if you have pieces from any of those individual puzzles. So you've got different box tops, and you've got a pile of pieces. At some point, you would probably just give up. You wouldn't bother with sorting through them. There's just too much little stuff that doesn't have a framework to fit it together. It's too complicated. You might try it for a while, and you might have some success, but to put all of those puzzles together, to sort them all out, especially if you are finding that you've got a lot of missing pieces in some of those puzzles, at some point you don't go, oh, I want to sort through this pile just because there's a pile to sort through. No, you want to find the puzzle that really interests you to put together. And if a puzzle doesn't interest you, you don't put it together. You don't waste your time on it. Sometimes life as an adult can seem very complicated. You may be helping several different kids all build their own puzzles, which may be interesting to them. And you're trying to get a few minutes to work on your own puzzle that is, the big puzzle for you that interests you. Maybe it's not all that fun, but that's the puzzle there is for you to do. Now that's the puzzle that you're in the middle of. And you're not planning to stop it. You're going to go back to that puzzle when you have time, and however long it takes to work on that puzzle and finally complete it, you're going to put time into working on that puzzle. So that may be your situation. For some adults, life can be very complicated where there's different puzzles that they're actually building multiple puzzles at once, or they're supervising the building of multiple puzzles at once. But instead of supervising all these different puzzles, or instead of trying to build 5 puzzles at once all by yourself, there could be an alternative that might be easier. Maybe you can get everyone, if there are a bunch of people building different puzzles, maybe you can get everyone to stop what they've been doing on their own and finally work on the same puzzle together. Even just one other person to help you with the puzzle not only can make it a lot more fun, but can certainly make it a lot faster, especially if they're good at building puzzles, right? So wouldn't that be a big relief to get one or more really good puzzle builders that are interested in building a puzzle and you like being around them and you build a puzzle together? Wouldn't that be a big relief from having to build it by yourself, or having, a bunch of different people who are all calling for you to come help them on their puzzle, and then the other one says, no, come help me on mine, and the other one says, what about me? So you've got all this different directions that you're being called to go in all these different directions. So that's complicated. That can be stressful. What if there was one puzzle and all the people, whether this is by yourself or there are other people, there's just one puzzle, and whoever's building it is building it together, or just you building it yourself. That's fine too, for purposes of this metaphor. So it seems like it'd be a big relief or it might be a big relief to have everybody working together on the same puzzle. Ah, that's awesome, isn't it? Well, not always. It might sound good. But if the kids are not getting along with each other very well, remember I was talking about there's the different kids that you've been supervising as they build their own puzzles, and then you bring these kids together, well, maybe they don't get along with each other very well. Or maybe some of the adults don't get along with each other very well. You've got a bunch of people all together to build a puzzle together. Awesome, this is so great. This is such an advantage over everybody doing it on their own. But then what if people don't get along all that well? Well, then working together, this thing of working together, could result in even less progress, even more stress. Maybe then we get into the issue of supervising the building of a puzzle. How do you effectively manage the different people to have them all say, yes, this is the puzzle that I'm committed to building, and each of them have their individual roles. Some of them may have certain tasks. Some of them maybe they just find pieces that are facing down, facing the wrong way down, so the cardboard's facing up and you can't even see the picture on it, and you just have those people. All I want you to do is turn over any of the pieces that are face down. So you give them different tasks, and then people can work together. But if it's just, okay, we're going to bring everybody together, now build the puzzle, and you start building the puzzle over here, and you're waiting for everybody around you to just spontaneously be really coordinated and cooperative as they build this puzzle together with you, it might happen that smoothly, it might not. So how important is it for other people to know which puzzle you are building? And how important is it for you that other people encourage you to build a particular puzzle, or even to help you build a particular puzzle? How important is other people in this whole subject of your life? There are probably some people who are more important than others, given that we have billions of humans in our midst. Within just a few thousand miles of me right now, there are billions of humans. So probably not going to build, you know, I'm probably not going to coordinate my activities with all of them. I might coordinate my activities with one of them, or 5 of them, or 15. You know, it can maybe there's a bunch of puzzles that are being built by small groups, and I'm involved with a network of teams. But in general, how important is it for other people to know what puzzle I'm building, to approve of me building that puzzle, to support me in building it, to encourage me, or even to actively help me build it? In some cases, that will be important. In other cases, I might want to build a puzzle in private. That's also understandable. Or I might want to do certain parts of the process in private, so I can get certain things clear. So how important is it for other people to be involved? It depends. How fast should you build a particular puzzle? It depends. I don't know. How do you answer that? Also, exactly which puzzle should you build? Again, you can notice what puzzle you're building and focus on just building that one. And at some point you might decide, I'm going to stop building this one. But which puzzle you should build, that's a good question to ask before you start, and maybe, you know, every time you finish a puzzle, you should ask, okay, which one should I build next? And maybe there are other occasions to ask, which puzzle should I be building? But if other people are saying to you, hey, stop building yours, come help me with mine, well, what about that? You know, other people could initiate a request of you to come and help them. Again, in the case of a parent who has kids, the kids won't say, stop what you're doing and come help me. They'll just say, come help me. They don't care what you were doing before. They're not paying any attention to that. Just, you know, they've got their puzzle they're working on, and come help them build their puzzle. That's it. I'm not calling for grandparents. I'm not calling for anybody else. The kids ask whoever they ask. And if you bring in an uncle or an older niece or an older sister, or, you know, grandma, that's up to you to involve other people. Or in many cases, the kids don't ask for the other people. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll ask for a specific other person. So you've got all that, you know, all those issues to coordinate. I mentioned these examples of organizing life when there are kids involved, because there is a big difference between interacting with kids and interacting with adults that are of a similar intelligence to you, similar motivations, similar perceptiveness, similar communication skills maybe. And if you're interacting with a 3-year-old or a 7-year-old, well, it's going to be different. And that's it's also kind of fun to use these examples of interacting with kids, because sometimes it's a lot simpler to talk about interactions with children, with small children, because it's not as complicated. So we can start by talking about interactions with children, even if you don't have any children involved in your situation. That can be helpful just to get the simple framework first. So what puzzle should you build? I don't know, maybe you'll build lots of different puzzles. So if you knew your destiny, many questions: who should be involved in building the puzzle with me? How important is it for that person to build it? Which puzzle should we build? How should they help? All sorts of questions that might be challenging on their own might suddenly be easier to sort through if you knew your destiny. So I'm not actually going to say a lot about what I mean by your destiny and what it would mean to know your destiny. But what if there was a clarity that allowed for you to sort through questions really easily? You could prioritize through different questions, like sorting through hundreds of pieces of a puzzle and looking just for the edge pieces. So you got a lot of questions. Maybe you've got a lot of requests. Your kids want this. Your other people want that. And you've got all these different pressures and demands. So how do you sort through them and find the ones that are most important? Well, maybe you can quickly just learn to look for the edge pieces. Maybe that'll help you sort through. So we won't even bother with most of these questions. We'll look for the edge pieces. And just, if a piece doesn't have an edge on it, we're not going to address it. If a question isn't that important that it's on the real boundary and framework of what makes your life have meaning and order, then we just won't address that question. So we prioritize quickly, easily, simply. This metaphor only works so well, though. Your life is distinct from a puzzle. Your destiny of how your life will look when it's all done, that destiny isn't conveniently located on the top of a puzzle box, is it? I don't have a big picture of your destiny filed away right over there in the filing cabinet, and I'm just waiting for you to come in and say, hey, can I see my destiny? And then I go and get it and bring it to you. Well, it's not like that. However, for those of you who have built a lot of puzzles, you got better over time. When you were learning to build puzzles, did you ever learn a technique that made the whole process faster and easier? By now, you probably know that when building a jigsaw puzzle, it can help to first build the edges of the puzzle. So that can really simplify and speed up the process for sorting through pieces. We just look for edge pieces, and then everything else we set aside. We're not going to put a lot of time into it right now. Maybe, okay, that one's green, we'll put the green ones together, but we don't do a lot with anything except the edge pieces. The edge pieces are the ones we're just sorting those out, getting those together, and then we're going to fit them together. So that is a really good way to build a puzzle quickly. If it was like a puzzle competition where your teams of everybody had the exact same puzzle and you want to build your puzzle really fast, one thing you might do is to build the edges first. Sort through the pieces, find the edge pieces, and then fit them together and build the edges pieces. Build the edge of the puzzle. So in order to make those 4 edges first, you sort through the pieces and you look for what? You look for the pieces that have a straight edge. Is there anything unusual about certain edge pieces? You might recall that the typical puzzle has 4 pieces that are extremely unique. Even if you do not have the puzzle box with the big picture as your guide, it still is, especially if you don't have the puzzle box as your guide. There are a few pieces that have not just one straight edge, but 2. What do you call those? Those are the corner pieces. And if your life seems rather messy, or disorganized, or even out of control, you might like to bring more order and organization to your life. And maybe even recognize your destiny. I haven't talked a lot about what that means yet, but maybe that's something that you're specifically interested in. And if not, that's fine too. It may come along with everything else, whether you plan for it or not. It's kind of how destiny works, is you don't have to plan for it. It's just there. So if those are things of interest to you, if you have a contrasting situation where you're like, this is pretty messy. I look at other people's lives and they seem to have lives that are more organized and more orderly. I'm interested in more order. I'm interested in better organization, and not just any organization. I want one that really fits for me. So if that's similar to your own experience, then it might help to start by identifying the 4 corner pieces. Okay? Here's a corner piece, here's a corner. See, once you get those 4 corner pieces, then you start to build together the edges, and things can start to fall into place smoothly, easily, quickly. You might enjoy the process a little bit more once you get those corners set. Again, life is not a jigsaw puzzle. There are no corner pieces in the literal sense that create a framework for identifying your destiny. Right? Well, before you answer, keep in mind that the small child who does not know to look for corner pieces will not look for them. So if that child sees those pieces with the two edges, the corner pieces, they're not going to go, oh, look, it's a corner piece. They treat that piece as no more important than any other piece. So you may think, well, I haven't identified any pieces as the corner piece yet. Or I don't know what all of them are. Maybe I know a few of them, but I don't know what all of them are. That doesn't mean you haven't seen them. You might have seen them quite a few times. You just didn't go, oh, that's a corner piece. Yeah, now I see the edges on it. That's a corner piece. That's important. So if a small child who's not very familiar with, puzzle building strategies, they see that corner piece, it has two edges, they may not recognize the importance of one of those four corner pieces. And that child could see those pieces and even pick them up, yet without ever recognizing them as having any special value. To the novice, to the beginner, they're just regular pieces like all the rest. They don't get any special treatment. They're not sacred. They're not valuable. Everything is just a big mess, or everything is just a big pile, or whatever. It's just a bunch of stuff. However, what if there are major cornerstone issues in your life that are obvious to you as parts of your life, but you haven't been organizing your life around those parts because you have not identified them yet as uniquely important, as being cornerstones or guideposts. If you were building a house, there may be cornerstones in a building, or creating a foundation and the actual corners of the foundation, picking where on the ground are we going to have the boundaries of the foundations, where will the corners be. Those are important steps. And if you don't do that and try to build a house, or try and, you just pour cement on the ground and you don't prepare the ground first, that can lead to complications. So maybe you've identified a few of the cornerstone issues in your life. What if you could quickly identify all four, know for sure that those are the cornerstone issues, and then identify which other pieces are edge pieces, and then connect your corner pieces with your edge pieces. And then maybe once you see that framework starting to form, the edges are starting to form, you would have enough clarity about your big picture to have a sudden, unexpected recognition. What if you're suddenly aware that there actually is a bigger picture to your life? You might not normally experience a consistent pattern of order for your life, but it's there. But do you recognize it? What if you're suddenly aware that there actually is a bigger picture? It doesn't necessarily mean that your life's like a puzzle that had, was pre-designed, and your job is just to fit it together. That's not important as an idea, with this idea of getting the foundations, the major issues clear, and then organizing your life around them. That's really the issue. What works? Does it work to identify major issues and then organize your life around them? And how those different major issues will fit together with each other. If it works, then I'm interested in it, and you might be too. So it could get boring to just sit down and build a puzzle all day, every day. If you're just building a puzzle, especially if it's the same puzzle every day, that'd be boring. However, what if you realized that there is a bigger picture to your life? So you had a guideline for building the puzzle. Instead of just, you pick up a piece, you pick up another piece, and you see if they fit together. Okay. Most of those pieces do not fit with each other. So you put it down. You pick up another piece, and you put it, does it fit? Nope. Okay, another piece. And you have no system, and you're just picking up pieces and trying to fit them together. Occasionally, oh, that fit together. That was nice for a moment. And then look at how many pieces you have left, right? So it can be disheartening, it can be discouraging. Even when you do make progress, the immediate experience with that can be, look at how much left there is to do. So what if there was a bigger picture of your life and you were clear about what that bigger picture is? What if you felt grateful to have the opportunity to put all these different pieces together and eventually witness what the completed puzzle will look like? What if you were curious? What will this puzzle look like? You know, when you put individual pieces together, you don't really care if they fit together. You're just going through the motions of fit this piece, that piece, you fit them together. And that's fine. You don't have to be curious, or you don't have to be, you know, invested in every little thing. I guess you could say you're still curious, but it's not exciting. You don't go, ooh, another piece. Let's try it with, no, you've done this over and over. So it's kind of routine. But when you get to seeing things coming together, it can get interesting. It can get exciting. And if your life is like seeming to have too much going on, not enough order, then one thing to do is slow down. Another thing, simplify. Look for edge pieces. Look for corner pieces. Ignore other pieces that are not as important. And maybe even get a system or talk to somebody who's an expert at putting together a well-organized life that fits together in an orderly way. What if you've built a puzzle before, even many times, and the puzzle of your life starts to come together? You start to find some pieces that are edge pieces, you fit them together, and you know how when you build a regular puzzle, there are certain things within the puzzle that are recognizable as, you know, there's a flower over here, and there's a face over there, and there's a house over here, and here's the sky, and here's a tree, and you know, you can sort out things, and things start to come together. I don't know how all these things fit together, but I see that some of this stuff is really fitting together. So as you start to get that sense of momentum, building and growing, and clarity coming together, then you might also get the sense of you already knew that next piece would be coming. You pick up a piece, you look at it, and you're like, yeah, there's not much left in the puzzle. I knew that I was going to get to that eventually. There it is. I know exactly how that fits. Whether you've built the puzzle before or not doesn't matter at some point, because you've got so many things coming together clearly that you've identified. Okay, I've got a face right here, but it's missing a nose. And then you find the nose, boop, and you put the nose in. Of course, you know exactly where to put it. You just have an issue of where to rotate that piece. But otherwise, you immediately identify it as a nose. You know where the nose goes, and you put the nose in the middle of the face. So, or maybe there's a few different faces, and you have to, you know, find which nose, which face does that nose go in. But it's not that. It's pretty fun at that point. It's pretty exciting. Things are coming together. You pick up a piece, and you feel, I knew that next piece would be coming. I could feel that one coming. I could see it coming. Like, I expected it. Or I didn't expect it, but now that I see it, I know exactly how that fits in, and it really seems familiar. In fact, now it makes sense of this other area of my life where I've been putting pieces together just based on the shapes of the jigsaw. And now I see what actually is going on there. So once I see that piece, I put it in place. I know exactly what part of the puzzle to put it in. I put it in, and now I see something. Wow. So what if you started finding lots of pieces that felt familiar? What if you got excited and had fun with your life again, like you might not have done since you were a small child, just about to put in that very last piece? This presentation has been to set up some ideas for you, to communicate a framework to you. And you will build your life and fill in all the details. But we can help you create a framework that really fits for you. Maybe is fun, maybe is inspiring. Whatever other details there will be, it fits for you. It works. Things fit together. Things are organized. And at some point, you get excited about building the puzzle, whether or not there are other people involved. You get so much momentum that you're happy to have other people involved, but you don't have any sense that you need anyone at all. And people are welcome. Maybe you'd love to have other people around, but you don't need them around. You got your puzzles coming together. You see it. You know that puzzle will be completed over time. So if you're interested in building your life in a way that works well for you, has minimal frustration, minimal disorder, minimal confusion. There will still be moments of confusion and frustration, maybe. That's possible, at least. But what if we can help you identify cornerstone major issues, set up the framework for how your life is already working, and then help you to act, help you to notice what there is to notice, and then act in accord with the bigger picture of how your life fits together. Oh, and one more thing. Your life could be thought of as just one piece of an even bigger puzzle. And if you don't think of your life as, a piece within an even bigger slice of life, that's fine. You don't need to think about it that way. But it is already that way. Everything is already connected in ways that a small child isn't going to notice. They just see something, looks like a regular piece. And a lot of pieces are regular pieces. Nothing wrong with regular pieces. Every piece is important to the finished puzzle. But every life, every destiny fits with all the others. Everything fits together. It's not just the things within your life. So how things fit in the bigger picture, we may find interesting at some point. But for many people, the issue is they have a sense of disorder, confusion, frustration, maybe boredom, and they are interested in, let's have a process that works well, maybe has some fun in it, more fun than it has lately, maybe more fun than it has in a really long time, and a sense that things fit together. Or not just a sense conceptually that things fit together, but an actual experience of realizing how the different parts of your life fit together. things that happened a long time ago or things that happened recently that don't make a lot of sense to you? What if they did make sense once you've got that framework clear? Once you've got the corner pieces and the edge pieces and you start putting together the different sections, what if everything fits? So this has been an introduction to some ideas, and if you're interested in these ideas, there are some actions for you to take. Let us know. We will tell you about different ways for you to participate and how we can help you to build your life in a way that really fits for you.